Hello again to everybody who watches me. Welcome to the first Cinema Snob reaction of 2022. I was actually planning to react to the episode from last week where the Cinema Snob reviewed My Bloody Valentine from 1981, but when that episode ended with him teasing that the next episode would be the Charles Bronson action slasher 10 to Midnight, I just knew this one would be the possibly better and more interesting one to look at because I love My Bloody Valentine and he reviewed it well, gave a good love letter type review, but 10 to Midnight, you can never have too much Charles Bronson, and this is definitely one of his more standout films of the 80s, and definitely one that fits up the Cinema Snob's alley. This and possibly in the future, Kinjite Forbidden Subjects. I've seen 10 to Midnight. In fact, I own it. And while it's not one of my more favorite Charles Bronson films, it definitely has some stuff that you usually don't see, especially in his latter vigilante films, and got a pretty interesting premise and a very unique killer, and without further rambling, I can't wait to see what the Cinema Snob has to say, because we've seen him go through the first two Death Wish sequels, and as he said last week, it's been a while since he delved into Bronson, and without further ado, let's watch and see how this film holds up in Brad's eyes.
Problem with naked serial killers running around in the 80s and killing nurses, and Bronson already cleaned up all crime in New York in Death Wish, so it only made sense to give him a badge and have him shoot that creep in the head. Sorry, that's a lot of words for 10 to Midnight is amazing. It wasn't thrilling enough that in 1982 Bronson was loose again. In 1983, he's loose again. And sure, he tried cleaning up the streets in Death Wish too.
You believe in Jesus, Senator? Well, you're gonna meet him.
Classic.
But mostly destroyed people's crosses. Here he gets to perform his vigilante justice the right way by planting DNA evidence, as one of the taglines for the movie is, "Forget what's legal, do what's right." That's right, that's why I made sure to take a shit right on the McDonald's floor to let them know exactly what I thought of their salad shakers. I love that the production for this movie came about just because they love the title 10 to Midnight. That's how it was pitched. Check out this sweet movie title. It really doesn't have anything to do with the plot, other than symbolizing urgency, I guess. The box has way more to do with it, where this guy is posing at 11:50 on the clock, as if he's giving clues as to who shot Mr. Burns. And between this title and another Bronson movie, From Noon Till 3, we know exactly the times of day he's very busy shooting hooligans. The name was given to a script that they had floating around by William Roberts, who also wrote The Magnificent Seven, though the main reason for making it was Menachem Golan definitely wanted to work with Bronson again. It was his second movie with Golan Globus, but his first under the Cannon Group banner. At first, their next project together was going to be The Evil That Men Do, but when there was a headache with the book,
I got that too.
This became their next movie, and The Evil That Men Do would be released in '84 by ITC Entertainment. Also, with vigilante movies, cop movies, and slasher movies all being popular in the early '80s, it made perfect sense to combine all three, especially with a director like J. Lee Thompson, who the previous year directed the slasher movie Happy Birthday to Me, and also worked with Bronson 3 times before with White Buffalo, St. Ives,
and it would work many times later.
They would continue to work together on 5 movies after this one. And
I got Murphy's Law too.
There's some things you'll know right away. That a poster like this doesn't really need the Canon logo. It goes without saying it's Canon, and that it'll have red on black credits. But what it does great is opening with a game of Let's Annoy Charles Bronson.
I catch him breaking the Lord's commandments. That's what I do. I rip him with the razor.
Hoo-hoo, he's interrupting Bronson while he's writing his romance novel. Bronson plays Detective Leo Kessler, just having a normal day at the precinct.
The captain issued a statement, didn't you get it?
I could fart a better statement than that.
Where they talk about farts and shit. This opening scene was supposed to happen about 20 minutes into the movie, but was moved up to the opening when they wanted to establish his character a bit more, and thankfully it just happens instead of them cutting to 5 days earlier. Naturally, they set up his character in the best
His least favorite cliche.
I'm a mean, selfish son of a bitch.
He's a mean son of a bitch. Got it. I'm all caught up. Plus, I know that Robert O. Raglan score will be equally as badass. Movie doesn't waste time. We're introduced to the movie's killer, Warren Stacy, a sexual predator who I'm guessing is not a coffee drinker. See, this is why Joe Spinell in Maniac was into mannequins, less coffee thrown in the face. A number of actors tried out for this role, one being Alec Baldwin, but the role eventually went to Gene Davis, the brother of the late great Brian Davis from Midnight Express. The character of Stacy was inspired by real-life killers like Richard Speck with a fixation on nurses, and Ted Bundy, since Stacy does seem like a proto-Patrick Bateman who secretly wanted to be a gang leader in a Michael Jackson video. He has very good taste in movies too. Look, he's seeing Butch and Sundance.
Is it as good as they say? You don't like it, just ask for your money back.
I mean, it's no Legend of the Lone Ranger. He has all the moves of a man sitting in the back and jerking off.
Would you mind sitting somewhere else?
Boy, am I glad we live in a time where we can pick our seats in advance if we want to be creepy. Hey there, strangers. Anyone want some hot buttered popcorn? And I promise not to be as creepy as Warren.
Now look what you've done. Shame on you.
He was about to stick his dick in the popcorn too. The movie he saw right before was Diner. He even feels okay using the restroom while the movie is playing. He's more of a Butch and Sundance the early days fan. The time they devote to his methods does make for a very good opening. He's a creep in the theater so he can establish an alibi, then sneak out the window, strip down naked, and kill his co-worker having sex in a van. Gene Davis is great at this, making Warren a very original, methodical villain, and his performance, in many ways, just lets it all out there. He is fearless in this role. Although it
very
does
creepy,
make
and you
it
just
rather
want to
difficult
see him
show some
die.
scenes, but they are genuinely terrifying. Like Scorpio and Dirty Harry, he's one of those great cop movie villains where you just want our hero to get this guy. On the plus side, he does make it back in time to be in the movie theater.
So sad when they died then.
Spoiler alert, he missed the movie. I'm sure he'll make a good second impression.
You don't like popcorn. How about a drink? And don't tell me you're not old enough.
Give him a chance, ladies. He's at Butch and Sundance. It's not like he's at the Beach Girls. The best of the best is in charge of this case. What? Police chief
Wilford Brimley.
He was always old. Did you know that in this film, he's only 18? Leo is set up with his new partner, Paul McCann, played by Andrew Stevens, who, yes, is leaving chewing gum behind at the scene, but they need his insight. He was the stalker killer a year prior in The Seduction.
Get out of here.
Come a long way since Massacre at Central High, Andrew Stevens.
Sure, that may not seem very subtle either, but he kept his clothes on. It is pretty cool that the movie heavily revolves around DNA evidence 2 years before it was to be used in criminal trials. But I know why you're here. It's not for a history lesson. It's for Charles Bronson saying one of his greatest lines ever.
Well, if anybody does something like this, his knife has got to be his penis.
Said with a straight goddamn face. Bravo. I love that Warren barely even puts up a front. He's known as being creepy even at his workplace.
What is it, Warren?
This is Karen's typewriter.
Well, put it down.
I can't. My dick is stuck in it. There is some line reading that's not great, though. Like when the boss gets the call that Betty died.
Oh, no. Oh, my God, no.
And that's just her reaction to the delivery driver being late with the Chinese food. Hell, the rest of the office doesn't act that much better.
What happened? What? No.
Good God, my knife penis is acting circles around them. There will be no stopping these cops on the edge. Look, they're driving around without their seatbelts. They're loose cannons, damn it! I love these two together because it doesn't seem like they hate each other. It just looks like they're in a pissing match to outsmart-ass one another, and they're doing great at it. It's one of my favorite Bronson movies and performances, especially in this era of his career. Death Wish 2 and 3 are fun, but yeah, Bronson does just kind of show up on screen and shoot random people, as great as that is. Here, he really does come alive in this, and feels like a real character, and seems to be having fun in the part.
Very different than Paul Kersey.
Seemingly still cutting out dramatic parts. When he goes to tell the parents their daughter is dead, it's two people that he knows, but it still cuts away, doesn't show the conversation, and only shows him leaving. It's much
Wasn't sure I was a
harder
fan of
to
that.
talk to the roommate who talks about getting lewd phone calls from someone with a Spanish accent.
I hope you won't, make her look cheap. She wasn't, honestly.
Why is it shot sexy? At least everyone is
J. Lee Thompson.
respects. I'm sure Warren only has one suit, but he brings it out at the right occasions. Plus, Leo's daughter also knew the victim. It's been a rough week for Lisa Eilbacher. She just found out her friend Mikey died in Detroit. Not like Leo's having a better time. His partner might as well say, "I'm gonna bang your daughter, bro."
You don't look like a nurse.
What's a nurse supposed to look like?
The death nurse, obviously. What? No, don't go
Crazy
into
fat
Warren.
Ethel,
Peter
baby.
Stevens is a way better catch.
Don't I know you?
Wait, you were Da Vinci in Cruising. How is
That was
it
a pretty
you're
good
working in
performance.
this movie? And when we come back, he'll prepare for his next murder with a smooth waxing of the anus.
Charles Bronson. Don't mess with Jack Murphy.
Murphy's Law.
Great movie to have a promo for.
On theater near you. Consult local listings.
I like that in this one, the movie devotes just as much, if not more time to the movie's killer. It really does show what the cops are up against, given how precise he is in covering his tracks, right down to breaking into the victim's house to steal her diary. And if there's time, maybe murder the roommate. It still has the spirit of a slasher film. It's gotta turn into Sorority House Massacre at least a few times. She'd be screwed either way. If Warren Stacy wasn't there, obviously the Terminator would kill her after finishing off her boyfriend Rick Rossovich in the bedroom. What? We've seen both of these killers naked. Funny, his penis just did the same thing. But it was all for nothing, as her diary is gone. Now he'll never know what she thought of the season finale of Falcon Crest. There is something about him, though, that makes the cops suspect him right away.
Mr. Stacy.
For instance, he always answers the door with a villain sting, and he's not very consistent in how he talks about movies.
Here's your something of a movie buff.
I try to see everything worthwhile.
Oh yeah, then why the hell did you go see Yes, Giorgio? This guy looks and feels like his murder trial would be broadcast on every news channel. He's
It'd be
very
entertaining.
Now, though. They have her diary.
Creep called me up again. Creep asked me to the office picnic. You know who that is?
Yes, her predictions for Richard Channing in the season premiere of Falcon Crest. My God, it's like you've never read a diary or know absolutely anything about cinema.
What was the movie? Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
The one with Newman and McQueen.
That's the Towering Inferno, jackass. I'm on the killer's side now. Exactly what to do. Leo searches for evidence, while Paul distracts the killer by talking about the bullfighter poster. Even in a canon film, Warren isn't going to be caught dead with the Golden Globus bullfighter movie Bolero. I, on the other hand, am the type of cinema snob who, of course, has Bolero in his jacket.
Been out a couple of
We're all
times.
hung up on Betty and the suspect, but why not talk about poor Tim, who lost his best girl?
I didn't do it. Christ almighty, she was my girl.
Tim actor seems like someone whose real name would be Breck Costin.
Oh, he was in Humanoids from the
Far
Deep.
too handsome to be the killer. Clearly, it's Warren. He talks the most like a sociopath with a weird past.
You ever taken a juvenile court, breaking your neighbor's window and throwing a dead animal inside?
Well, it stopped the neighbor from playing their music loud, didn't it?
Oh, sure. For hurting the neighbor's daughter. Cut her with a knife.
Yeah, she tried taking his dead animals. As careful as Warren is, it's not hard to say the wrong thing while Bronson interrogates.
You like hurting girls?
I won't answer that.
Bro, the answer is always no. Not that it matters. The two girls who saw him at the theater and are his alibi oddly seem like they want to bang him. even when Leo taunts him for being a virgin and holds up the fake vagina sex toy he found.
Yeah,
In Warren's
that was a
defense,
very
the sex
memorable
toy
scene.
Is also a huge fan of westerns. This should be enough to give him the death penalty right there in the interrogation room. Too bad for stupid lawyers.
When the law protects those maggots out there, you'd think they're an endangered species.
Damn it, Leo, you can't shoot him before he's been read his rights. No matter how hard he tries for him to be brought in again.
I'd like to have another whack.
Bring him in for
Like he does.
I told you I want to whack him. Why did you even give me a gun if I can't shoot him in the head? Paul is still the voice of reason, who says, he might sue us for harassment, which would make it hard to charge him.
I remember when legal meant law. Now it means some kind of a loophole.
I'm pretty sure you couldn't still just whack the guy. Even poor Andrew Stevens
Well,
is having a
the
hard
killing
time.
way.
He has to wait for a picture of Warren being creepy around Laurie's friends. In the 90s, it was way easier for him to solve a case. It was always Shannon Tweed who was guilty in his movie.
Andrew Stevens got around in the erotic department.
Dirty Harry movies. Leo is a rule breaker cop with a new partner hunting a serial killer, while Warren Stacy accidentally missed Dirty Harry and based his whole life on seeing Dirty O'Neill instead. It pretty much is if Dirty O'Neill
Memorable
and
episode
Scorpio
from
were
a
the
year or
same
two ago.
person, with a little bit of Black Christmas thrown in with the lewd phone calls, and we get to hear that Spanish accent they were talking about.
Means I want to eat your pussy. I give it to you in the ass.
Just like
That's
the Taco
Spanish.
Bell Chihuahua and his famous catchphrase, "Yo quiero ass." I think his unfortunate phrasing is starting to rub off on her a little.
I'm fine.
Working you hard, are they?
Like slaves.
Right, their lunch breaks also had lackluster chicken salad. It seems Paul and Laurie are interested in each other, and I can't think of a less awkward time for one to ask the other out than with Dad sitting right there.
You want to go to a party tonight?
Great, I'm gonna shoot my partner now too. I'm kidding, it's Tuesday and nothing comes between Bronson and his Salisbury steak. Oh, and by the way...
Oh, Dad. I forgot. I got an obscene phone call last night from...
Oops, did that slip my mind? And here I thought talking about my dad and quiche would be the most important topic. Best send Paul over, just in case this has to do with the serial killer.
Do you really think it's a slasher?
It's 1983. It's always a slasher. The cops also picked the right house to watch over. Ola Ray is there in case the killer is a zombie Michael Jackson. That must be why he's dressed like this. And Kelly
more you
Preston
know.
is there in case the killer is a car. But with the phones tapped, they can finally let their hair down and party.
I said it's hot.
Frankly, I would watch a sitcom where Detective Andrew Stevens has to watch over a house full of young partiers.
Yes, I have a gun.
This seems like the type of place where someone is getting drugged. I just didn't think it would be the chaperone.
Do you have any dizziness? Shortness of breath?
The hell? Seriously, did you roofie him? What kind of party is this?
Maybe we should check your prostate.
Wow, what a twist. They figured out he's going around town stuffing fruit up people's asses. Sometimes I can tell when music isn't actually playing on set and they're each dancing to different songs in their heads. He's got to get in the game, though. Whatever you do, don't picture her dad spying on you through the window.
The last thing I want to do is get involved with a cop.
Yeah, that must be why she's picturing a Beverly Hills cop, an officer, and a gentleman. I hope he'll still be in the mood even when horny Warren calls.
Hi, baby. What's doing? How you been?
Why does it sound less Spanish and more like he's doing a bad impression of Charles Bronson? That's gotta even confuse Charlie.
Kiss my ass.
We're gonna get into the Oedipus area.
I don't remember leaving that message, but I do apologize. These 80s Bronson movies are great. This is why whenever an older actor plays an action-y role, it is a compliment in saying they're going full Bronson. Because at 61 years old here, he's still completely believable as a stressed-out homicide detective. You can tell he's older and wiser here.
Smells like pretty good stuff. Confiscated material?
Because he didn't shoot that guy for smoking dope. But here's where he makes the classic rookie mistake in falsifying evidence against Warren. Sure, it's funny to
Where
talk about
we
the
get a very
plot of our
different
hero
Bronson
doing
character.
something like evidence tampering, but there is a build-up to him doing this. It isn't just, oh, he's a loose cannon, let's plant blood. They make it to where he feels backed into a corner because the guy is going after his daughter, which is a step up for Bronson. He didn't just simply shoot Warren in the back. He used the court this time to get his vigilante justice. And he even let this guy off the hook for the pot. That's growth, damn it. Unfortunately, Warren is way better at covering his tracks than Leo. Immediately, Paul figures out that the killer is way too smart to make a mistake like blood on his clothes. And the morgue attendant also mentions that Leo was there. See, he should have had an alibi like being a creep at a movie theater. But I love this part where in claiming his innocence for the blood, he totally gives away he did it.
He's lying. There was no blood on my clothes, and he knows it.
Right? I killed them all completely naked. This is impossible. Plus, unlike his boss at the office, this is how you let out a stressed out no. As a man who's gonna miss out on seeing the next Paul Newman movie. There's going to be disappointments all around. Not only is Bronson going to be upset that Paul has figured out that he falsified evidence, but Clint Eastwood is going to be very disappointed that his friend Jeffrey Lewis is putting criminals
He plays
back on the
sleaze so
streets.
well,
I like
Jeffrey
the shifts
Lewis.
that he makes in its storylines, plot turns, and even the characters that we're following. Paul's suspicion of Leo is causing distance between him and Laurie, and it even looks like he's again turning into his killer character from The Seduction, like he's watching Morgan Fairchild on TV again. The movie is totally a Bronson vehicle, but it's almost kind of an ensemble. We've got whole sections where other characters are given a lot of time to really be fleshed out, whether it's the ruthlessness of the killer, or kind of making Stevens the lead for a short time where he's investigating Leo. Plus, having an actor like Jeffrey Lewis here in this brief part gives extra layers to this lawyer character as he coaches Warren on how to act crazy to end up in a mental facility. A lesser movie like this wouldn't have questioned at all our hero planting blood on evidence, but here, no, it's portrayed as a very bad idea, which gets him let go from the force, and you can see the horror in Paul's face as they tragically have to let this guy go. His actions do get more people killed. And Lisa Eilbacher is great here too. I wish she was still around acting and stuff. She totally holds her own against Bronson.
First time I ever got drunk with my father.
I love it when she's drunk in front of
That
Leo
line
and
could lead to
he's
something
pissed off at
so
Andrew
much
Stevens,
worse.
Till Leo has to be like, yeah, no, I fucked up. And when we come back, this screw-up leads to more naked Warren.
And now it's time for Lloyd's out of context
Of course.
911 Lone Star clip of the week.
Holy crap, what are those?
Aliens! That's right, aliens! Are you surprised?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Ooh, you know the villain is super crazy, because who in their right mind would prank call Charles Bronson?
To forgive is divine, they say. But I don't aspire to being an angel.
Were you not expecting him to shoot you through the phone? The movie does, however, repeat a lot of Dirty Harry plot points, because at the end of the day, it is a bit of a knockoff. It's just really good at it. Like they do the
With a
sequence
sweet
when the cop
mustache to
follows around
boot.
the suspect after he's set free. Only this movie does add its own touches to it, like this brilliant scene where Warren just goes back to work. Daddy's home. Now it's turning into a prankster movie where Leo is hanging up crime scene photos in the guy's office while he watches.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about Bronson's character in this.
Yeah, two could play that music stinger game. Although even Warren wouldn't do something as silly as Paul does in the next scene. Why in God's name would you come up on him like that?
Is he allowed to have a gun after losing his
really
job?
Lucky he didn't shoot you. He's very focused on his pranks. I think he rearranged the lights so that Warren trips over them and makes prank calls of his own. Do you have the corpse of Prince Albert stuffed in a can? Hell, he can't even pick up hookers without Leo judging him.
51 way, round the world, 75.
75 to drive you around the block? Well,
That's
okay,
a lot in
that's
the
what normal
80s.
people are into. I am all for any movie that turns into porn theater crusted exterminator movies in the last 15 minutes. Yes, let's do this. We were right to ask for the sheets. Just kidding, although the hotel clerk here is part of the slasher world, he's the priest that gave Loomis a ride in Halloween 4.
I thought he looked familiar.
And a nice distraction, because no way will they suspect him of stripping down nude to bring a flower gram to the daughter. This is a wild-ass climax, like a bachelorette party with a stripper snorted rock salt before barging into a room and scaring the hell out of the characters and the audience. Again, god damn, he's great in this. The intensity doesn't let up as the others try to stay quiet while, making some dumb mistakes like reaching for the towel, which gets one of them killed. But with the editing, the
gotta be dry.
and the bare ass, it's legit terrifying. It's like it still goes through the final girl section of a slasher film, but it's a Bronson cop movie. That's awesome. It's not even the only movie from that era to do that, as the 1982 movie Silent Rage was a Chuck Norris flick with slasher elements. I also love how he finds her much quicker than a regular slasher villain. That's a knife dick. Several things just all come together to make the climax kind of perfect. Like the sweet guitar riffs from Robert O. Raglan, who is behind such other exploitation flicks like Grizzly, The Thing with Two Heads, and MST3K fans may remember A Touch of Satan. The cinematography is also great, as it's by Adam Greenberg, who, no surprise, shot The Terminator and Terminator 2. What can I say? He's excellent at shooting movies where characters are outdoors naked and causing all sorts of mayhem.
Or naked men are out killing people.
By midnight, I guess. I don't know. Let's pretend he does, so the title has some bearing on this. It's an applause-worthy moment when this chase through the streets with a naked man and a knife ends like this. Yeah, something tells me she's gonna be safe. But rest assured, this time, even when Warren is saying that he'll pretend to be crazy so he can eventually be let out on an insanity defense, Leo will use the right evidence to put him away with the law on his side.
You'll hear from me. You and the whole fucking world.
No, we won't.
Oh, don't worry, Leo won't be in trouble because he'll face off against Gene Davis again in Messenger of Death.
It's pretty cool him to show up there.
There were never any serial killers on the streets of LA again, thanks to Charles Bronson. I mean, sure, maybe it doesn't have the best message in the world, and it's definitely of its time, but it's a 1983 Bronson movie. I know what I'm getting into, and that's why I'm here. As I said earlier, it's my favorite Bronson movie. There's a real character here with a wildly corrupted set of morals that the movie is aware of as he's pushed to the edge by this killer. It wallows in its sleaze, doesn't hold back from giving Warren Stacy a lot of screen time, and really earning its blood-soaked clash between these characters in the last act because you feel like you equally know these characters just as well. It was savaged by critics, given 0 stars by Ebert, who also gave Death Wish 2 0 stars, but Gene Siskel liked it,
Yeah.
staying by and supporting his
You know,
fellow
weird
Genes.
change of
It
character.
did okay, box office wise, especially in the international market, but like a lot of these Bronson movies and sleaze flicks, it did gangbusters on video and cable TV airings, which helped it develop a fan base. If it's a sleazy cop movie you want that's suspenseful as hell, with an incredibly memorable villain, you're gonna dig 10 to Midnight. And while we can close the book on this vigilante movie, we do have a new Batman movie coming out, so I should probably spotlight something Batman related. I'll think of something. There is a lot to pick from.
I hate quiche.
Then why did you take it?
I thought it was pie.
As someone who also hates quiche, I can relate to that. It's a cool wall of big boxes. I actually have that same copy of Exterminator 2 on my shelf. And I don't have 10 to Midnight, but I got Year of the Dragon, Dream Lover, and North by Northwest. And Yeah, it was a cool episode. I'm of the opinion that you can never have too much Charles Bronson. I've been talking about that old badass motherfucker for a couple of years now. Murphy's Law, which I mentioned earlier, and he played a promo for. I got that as well, and this is probably my favorite Charles Bronson movie. It's just well done, good action, likable characters, and even though it's a pretty big age gap, I kind of like the subtle romance that he has with the female lead in the film, Kathleen Wilhoit. And 10 to Midnight, as I said, it's not one of my more favorite Bronson films, but the more I think about it, there is a lot in it that I can appreciate. The thing that I guess kind of is a little bit of a downside is, well, Death Wish 3, Murphy's Law, Messenger of Death are a lot of fun. 10 to Midnight can be very frustrating, but that can be a good thing just in the fact that it does give a very different Charles Bronson character with Leo Kessler, I think that was what the name was, and the character is, at the times, pretty unlikable, and yeah, he is responsible for a lot of the mayhem at the end. And the thing that I like, the more I think about it, is that this vigilante, unlike Paul Kersey, actually faces consequences for his actions, and we do see that, yeah, just doing what's right, forgetting what's legal, isn't always the best solution, and you get the frustration he has with Warren Stacy getting away with what he does, but at the same time, there is the question of following the law, and by doing what he did, it led to more trouble, and the ending, I think, is a bit abrupt, where he just shoots him in the head. I mean, yeah, it was cool when he just popped him after he went on that screeching rant, but it was a little quick, and I'm guessing because of censorship, they couldn't show more blood coming out, or I don't know, maybe they didn't have the budget, but it was a little abrupt, and personally I think a little more poignant ending could have shown him getting arrested for what he did, and even though they didn't, I'm pretty sure that's what follows, because yeah, he shot a guy on a street with a whole bunch of other cops standing around. I don't see a happy future for Leo in this. I agree with Brad. Gene Davis just steals the show as Warren. He's a good creep, and you just, like, he gives a performance where you just want to see him get the shit knocked out of him, and you want to see him die. Yes, he's very frustrating, but he's frustrating in a good way where you're just wanting so bad to see him get his comeuppance. And Andrew Stevens, I haven't watched 10 to Midnight all the way through in a while, but remember he was a pretty serviceable supporting character, and he came a long way from playing Mark in Massacre at Central High, where pretty much every actor sucked. And yeah, after this he went into starring in and directing Cinemax type erotica movies, usually with Shannon Tweed, and yeah, as Brett said, it's a good ensemble cast, a lot of actors, recognizable faces, some people that I honestly missed the first time I watched it. Jeffrey Lewis is great as the sleazy lawyer, and hard to say what my favorite jokes were in this. Brad always puts good one-liners in at the scenes where you least expect, and the part where he holds up the big box at the end, that was cool. When he said closing the book. Oh, the thing I guess that stands out to me in the moment is when the daughter's about to leave, and then she's like, oh, someone gave me a phone call. Like, yeah, you should have mentioned that earlier. And the part about where he goes, did she actually roofie Andrew Stevens? And a whole bunch of other stuff. This was fun. It was cool to kind of do a little retrospective on 10 to Midnight. Yeah, highlight a lot of good stuff. I enjoyed it. Cool to see the Murphy's Law promo and the 911 Lone Star show that he keeps spotlighting. I think this has reached a whole new level of what the fuck kind of show is this? I mean, aliens? But yeah, I had a good time. It's always good to go back to Bronson, guy who inspired me to grow my original mustache way back in the day. Hope you enjoyed my reaction, and if you want to see more, feel free to check out more vids on the channel, and I will see you again soon.